Hygiene on the AT. How does someone who's going to thru hike stay clean? Well, all actuality, they're probably not going to stay clean at all. We're going to stink, and that's the nature of a thru hike. But you do have to stay somewhat clean for health reasons, because there are some nasty things out there if you don't keep yourself clean. So I'm going to go over my hygiene regime, I suppose, some of the products that I'm using, and hopefully you will find that helpful. So essentially the topics I'm going to cover are dental, general body, hair care, some extra bits and bobs, and some feminine hygiene issues for the ladies at the end. So if the men want to turn off there, great. So to start with, we're going to start with dental. So this is my whole little dental kit, pretty tiny. I don't have much in here, your basics. I do like to brush my teeth morning and night. Mouth care is important for the rest of your health. So I carry a little tube of toothpaste, little travel size you can pick up anywhere, which is handy for resupply. Dental floss is an absolute must, particularly with hiking food, because it's all dried and usually like beef jerky and whatnot. It always gets stuck in my teeth. So I always have dental floss on me, and it's also really good for sewing up gear, much better than thread. And finally, I have a teeny tiny teeny tiny toothbrush. You don't need something this tiny. Some people actually cut their toothbrushes in half, or you can just take a full-size one. It really doesn't matter. I just happen to have this because I shop at a company called Garage Gear, which doesn't sponsor me, but they have great stuff from little cottage companies, and they always throw in a little toothbrush, so I have one. So that's what I'll be using. Now, when it comes to brushing your teeth out in the bush, and you are away from your food sources, and you're away from a water source, and you're ready to spit out your toothpaste goo in your mouth, it's important that you try to disperse it and not just spit it out on the ground in one big lump, because some little animal will come find your minty goo and try to get unscented if you can. But let's face it, it's toothpaste, it's gonna have a flavor. But yeah, just try to disperse it out so that it doesn't sit in one spot and can be absorbed in the environment a lot easier. And moving on. Next we have general body cleaning. Now at the end of a hike, I will, before I get into bed, I do like to clean. It keeps my sleeping bag cleaner, it just feels better to sleep a little bit cleaner. So what I will do is, now the AT has a lot of water, so that's great. So I will actually wash with water. If it didn't have a lot of water, I would be using baby wipes, unscented. But remember that these have to be packed out. So use them sparingly, but they are handy to have in case you have, you know, incidences in the bathroom or whatnot, and you just need something fast. These are handy for that, but you have to pack them out. So instead what I do is I have this little Dyneema bowl, and it is, again, I got it from Garage Gear. It's a dog bowl actually. So it's just a tiny little bowl. I think it weighs like maybe an ounce, if that. So I can fill it up with water. I have powdered soap. It's Pica soap. There we are. I don't know if you can see that. It's for everything: hands, body, clothes, dishes. It's an alkaline salt plant-based soap, so it's environmentally friendly. But again, it does not go back into a water source. So if you take it from a lake or a creek or a stream or something, you dump it 200 feet away from that. And you don't need much, really. A very little bit goes a long way. And I'll use these, they're called Swiss cloths. They're just a cellulose cloth. They dry solid, like they're like a really intense paper towel, really, but you can actually throw them in the washing machine to clean them. They're really great. So they last forever, and they will biodegrade, which a lot of cloths won't. So I will use that to wash my face, my pits, my nether regions, and lastly my feet, because I take extra special care to make sure that my feet are nice and clean, and that I've checked them over and I've lotioned them and clipped the nails, everything that needs to be done, because that is very important. So I will make sure that I clean all that, whether I do it outside the tent or in the tent, whatever have you. then I dump out my water. And that's how I stay nice and clean. Now, the nether regions tend to be cleaned throughout the day when I go to the bathroom. If you happen to watch my How to Poop in the Woods video, you will know that I bring a bidet, and this is the bidet. It's not a traditional bidet, it is a beaker cleaner from Amazon, and you just point and squirt. It's great, it cleans things well. I use it when I urinate or I have a bowel movement because it keeps everything clean, and then I just dry it off with my Kulu cloth. Again, this is as antimicrobial inside, and you just throw this in the washer, hang it to dry on the back of your pack, and it stays clean, and you buckle it up so you're not throwing any nasties, but really it's just cleaning up a damp bottom. So it, in and of itself, it's not really very dirty anyway, because that's the route that I like to take. I don't like to bring TP into the backwoods. I do have some, because again, you just never know what's going to happen, and if a heinous event happens to the hiney, well, I have something to clean that up with. If you happen to be on the Appalachian Trail and there are numbers of lakes and you want to go swimming and use that as your sort of way to clean, that's a great way to do it. I expect to be doing some of that myself. Don't bring the soap in with you. The soap does not belong in those waters. Soap belongs, if you're going to take it out in the woods 200 feet away from any water source. As well as laundry on trail, I will be washing my underwear or socks. Those are the two items that I'll be using most, because I'm only bringing 2 pairs, so I can alternate them, wash them, and hang them on the outside of my pack to dry. Again, I'll wash it in my little bowl there, dump the water out, and away from the river, because nobody wants my hiney water in their drinking water. It's just a bad idea. And then I can just hang them out to dry. So I'll probably do that mid-afternoon type of ideal, because, and again, they're quick drying, so they don't take long to dry at all. And that way I can rotate some clean underwear, because I'm not going to be doing laundry every day. It'll be every couple of days, and the rest of my clothes will stink to high heaven, and that's okay. Again, bug repellent, natural, and bear repellent, because ain't no bear gonna want to touch that. Just not tasty enough. So next I have things to deal with. Hair. I don't really do much with my hair. I wash it once a week as it is. So that routine probably will stay exactly the same as on the AT. The only difference is, instead of leaving it down and loose like this, I will probably have it tied back or braided. I don't bring a comb, I just run my fingers through it. My hair is dry, so I don't have to really worry about oils, and even if I did, it doesn't bother me, but for some people it does, and I have heard that people will use like baby powder in their hair. The dry shampoos, I've been told, don't really work, so I mean, to each their own. Do whatever works for you. It doesn't work for me. I don't need it, so I don't even use it. So the less the better. So I have some elastics. This is a buff here, which I can pull over all of my hair and keep it covered at night if necessary to keep it cleaner. But at the end of the day, it's just going to be tied up, and it's going to be what it's going to be. So I'm not really concerned too much with my hair. I will be bringing, I don't have it with me right now, a bottle of conditioner, because at most hotels or hostels or places where you're going to wash your hair, I can just use my soap. But conditioner, because it is dry, I do, and it'll get tangled and turn into dreadlocks, which I have had, but I'm not intending to grow them this time. So I'll use the conditioner on them there. So I will be bringing a little bottle with me. I haven't purchased it yet. As for my skin, I will be using this little container of Oakey's Working Hands. It's a great one to keep your hands from cracking and whatnot, especially since they're going to be exposed to the elements the most and all day, every day. So that is a great little container. I do like that. Being the East Coast, it tends to be quite humid, so my skin shouldn't get too dry, but if it is windy, it might. So I am going to start off with just bringing a small bottle of face cream. I only have CeraVe here. I think that's what it's called, CeraVe, just because that's what I picked up at the drugstore. Really, I'm not all that picky. As long as it's moisturizing and doesn't smell, I'm good. So that's what I have for that. I also carry some sunscreen because I do burn really easily. I'll be wearing a lot of these, well, this particular sunscreen type shirt, It's SPF 50, I believe. It's got a little hoodie on it, and I can wear hats. So really I only have to worry about my face and hands. So that's why I like the little sticks, because they don't kind of melt into your eyeballs like creams will. At least that's my experience. So I just picked up this SPF 50. Again, I try to find something that's a mineral one, water resistant. Not that that really matters, but that's what I use, and that's what I have. And lastly, I also bring some chapstick, because my lips are always dry, especially when I'm hiking, because I tend to breathe through my mouth when I'm breathing heavy, which is going up all hills, with an SPF in it, again, because I don't need to burn, and I burn really easily. And of course, everyone should have a pair of nail clippers. They're cheap and easy to find along route, so if you forget or lose them, they're easy to pick up. But I always find my nails grow very quickly, so I want to keep them as short and clean as possible, especially when you're cleaning your hands after going to the bathroom. If you keep your nails short, you're less likely to get something like norovirus and any other funky stuff that comes with fecal matter and gooey stuff on your hands. I do bring hand sanitizer after bathrooms, but I prefer to wash my hands, which is also why I like the bidet thing, because I can use a little extra water afterwards to wash my hands, and then I'm all nice and clean and I don't have to worry about it, because you don't want to eat food after the bathroom. And I'm going to be a constant snacker, so there we have it. Okay, finally we have feminine products. Now, being a perimenopausal woman, I don't really have to worry about this. I'm going to be 50 on the trail. I'm not having a problem with this. But certainly as a woman, other women do have issues with this, especially the younger women. So what do you do with that? Some women, if they're on birth control, will just manage their birth control so they're not actually having their period. Other women will get an IUD so that it either minimizes it or reduces it altogether. Some women do find that because they're being active and whatnot, that their period is actually less, and some it makes no difference at all. So you run the whole spectrum. A lot of people will just use pads and tampons. Again, you got to pack that out, so you got to have a Ziploc bag for that, to take that out with you, and just buy supplies as you need them. Some people will use one of those menstrual cups. I have tried those before when I was younger. They're great. They're environmental. If you know how to use them well, they can serve you really well. You just know how to clean them and take care of them and all that type of stuff. It's not something you want to try to use for the first time on trail. They are quite finicky, and it does take a bit of practice to make them work well, I do find. But if you can, and you do, great. It's a great alternative, but again, I don't have that issue. I don't have to worry about it, so yay me. That's a perk to getting older. Yeah, so that is my hygiene routine. I hope you found that at least informative, maybe valuable, learned some tips or tricks, or not at all. Either way, if you did enjoy it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and see how Jeff and I get along on the AT, which we'll be starting very, very soon. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.